One of the most viewed pages I have at the Farmer Fred Rant blog page tackles the subject of getting pepper seeds to germinate. Typically, it takes pepper seeds a long time to germinate when planted in a seed starting mix or some other soilless mix. It could be 2 or 3 weeks before you see that first set of leaves, which, by the way, are referred to as the cotyledons. They're not the true leaves, but they are the first set of leaves that pop up. Well, here's a way to germinate your pepper seeds in half that time. Place the pepper seeds in between 2 moist coffee filters in a room that is between 70 and 80 degrees. For many, that room might be the kitchen or a bathroom. Also, to ensure a warm environment, here's something you could do in just about any indoor room. Place those moist coffee filters containing the pepper seeds inside a glass baking dish. Place that on top of a germination or propagation mat, and those can be found at any nursery that has a lot of indoor garden supplies. Cover the baking dish loosely with plastic wrap to keep it warmer. You may need to spritz those coffee filters every other day or so to keep it moist. And then wait for the tails to appear. That would be the emerging roots, and when you do it by this method, those tails will appear after about 8 or 9 days. Then you can gently transplant those into a moist seed starting mix, preferably one that uses the more neutral pH coir, C-O-I-R, coir, which is coconut fibers, instead of the lower pH peat moss. Now, we explained pH back in episode 1, and basically every plant has its own preferences for optimum growing conditions when it comes to the acidity or alkalinity of the soil. That's the soil pH. Although peppers prefer a slightly acidic soil, peat moss is way too acidic to get peppers off to a fast start. Now, if you want to save some money, instead of buying a commercial seed starting mix, my preferred home mix consists of equal parts coir, perlite, and fine compost. Now, you might be asking, why use coffee filters? Why not just use paper towels? Well, when you use paper towels, there's a good chance that emerging root gets tangled up inside the fibers of the paper towels. And pulling out germinated seeds from those paper towels may then be rather hazardous to their health. So go with the coffee filters instead. I'm waiting for the annual Debbie Flower rant about planting in moist soil.
The soil, and not everyone agrees with me on this, but the soil should be moist before it's put into the container. If you're starting seeds, number one, the containers need to be extremely clean. No traces of media whatsoever in those containers. If you are concerned, you don't think you got it clean enough, you could run it through a 10% bleach solution. But bleach is quickly disabled by organic matter. Any diseases that you might worry about, and in starting seeds, it's called a disease called damping off is your primary problem, will be carried over from the previous crop in that soil. So you want to make sure that the containers are brand new, or they're older ones that have been completely cleaned.
And that's how you can get pepper seeds to germinate in a lot less than 2 or 3 weeks.